welcome to the channel. If you're into real-life horror stories that start off ordinary and end in a nightmare, you're in the right place. Tonight's story is a chilling reminder that sometimes the scariest thing about Halloween isn't the costumes or haunted houses, but what might be lurking right above your head, completely unnoticed. Let me take you back to one of the most unsettling Halloweens of my life. It was Halloween weekend, and that year, it fell on a Saturday. For my mom, that was like winning the lottery. She goes all out for Halloween: decorations, lights, creepy music, fog machines, you name it. Her goal is always the same: make our house the best on the block for trick-or-treaters. We live on a corner lot in a typical suburban neighborhood, so we decorate not just the front, but the entire side of the house too. But that year, Halloween came with gloomy skies. It was cold, cloudy, and there was a good chance of rain. By noon, only a few kids had come by. My mom didn't think the weather was the issue. She was convinced we didn't have enough decorations out, and that's why the kids were skipping us. So she asked me to go up into the attic to grab more. I protested, but she insisted. Our attic is right above my bedroom. The door is in the upstairs hallway. You pull it down and climb a ladder to get in. Up I went, grumbling to myself. We had all the holiday bins organized by season, so I quickly found the remaining Halloween container and opened it. Good enough, I muttered, and began dragging it toward the ladder. As I carefully slid it down, I heard something from the far end of the attic, like a soft crack of wood, almost like someone had stepped on a loose board. I paused. I looked toward the back wall, where we stacked extra containers, but it's an attic, wood creaks. I shrugged it off, climbed down, and we got back to decorating. The day dragged on. Hardly any trick-or-treaters came by, and my mom was visibly disappointed. She always made these elaborate goodie bags, full-sized candy bars, little toys, everything. It was kind of heartbreaking watching her realize most of it was going to waste. Eventually it started raining. That put a stop to the few kids still out. I went to my room and spent the rest of the evening gaming on my laptop, while my mom stayed downstairs in case anyone else showed up. Later that night, the rain turned into a full-on thunderstorm, fitting for Halloween, I guess. Around midnight, I heard another sound from the attic. This time, it wasn't just a creak. It sounded like footsteps. I paused my game and listened, then silence. Curious and a little uneasy, I went into the hallway and saw that the attic door was open. My heart started pounding. Then I heard something downstairs in the kitchen. The fridge open, items were being moved. Someone was down there. I crept to my parents' room and slowly opened the door. They were both asleep. I shook my dad awake. "There's someone in the house," I whispered. "In the kitchen. I think they were hiding in the attic." He jolted up. He's not a big guy, but he keeps a police baton under the bed for emergencies. I never thought he'd actually have to use it. He grabbed it and stepped out to peek down the hallway. A moment later, he came back in, pale-faced. "I saw someone," he whispered, climbing back up into the attic. He locked the door and called 911. When the police arrived, they pulled the attic door down and climbed up. What they found will haunt me forever. A disheveled man, dirty clothes, hollow eyes, was curled up behind the containers in the far corner. He had taken one of our blankets and brought a jar of peanut butter up with him. He'd been living up there, watching us, moving around when we weren't listening closely enough. And yes, he had entered our house the day before, when the front door had been accidentally left ajar during setup. Thankfully, it ended without violence. He didn't resist. He simply said he had nowhere to go. My parents, unbelievably, chose not to press charges. But I still wonder, what would have happened if I had gone back into the attic? What if my dad had confronted him instead of calling the police? The attic creaks still make me jump, because now I know that sometimes it's not just the house settling. Sometimes it's someone. If this story made your skin crawl, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more real horror stories. And remember, always close the attic. I threw a Halloween party, and a stranger in a skeleton suit almost changed my life forever. When I was 18, I threw what I thought would be a legendary Halloween party at my parents' house. They were away for the weekend, giving me the green light, have some friends over, as long as I followed two simple rules: don't invite strangers, and clean the house so well afterward that it looked better than when they left. That was it. I told my friends the invite was closed. Strictly, no strangers. My parents knew I was planning something, but I think they underestimated just how big it would be. I promised them it would be alcohol-free, which was a lie we both silently agreed to pretend was true. They left me some money for snacks and soda, and I used it to stock the kitchen. The party started around 6 p.m. right as the autumn sky was going dark, and the entire first floor and backyard were lit up with string lights and fake cobwebs. My buddy Mike brought his DJ setup and turned the living room into a mini club. About 40 people ended up showing up. Almost everyone who walked in greeted me, and I recognized them all. Or so I thought. I kept it cool with the drinking, since I was technically the host, and had to make sure nothing got out of hand. People were dancing, laughing, eating, and having a great time. It was, by all appearances, a successful party, but that changed fast. About halfway through the night, one of my friends came outside from the kitchen, holding a plate of food, and asked me casually, "Hey, who's the guy in the skeleton bodysuit?" I blinked. "What guy?" "The one inside. Tall, older looking." Didn't say much. I didn't remember seeing anyone in a skeleton bodysuit. I went inside to check, and asked a few people milling around in the kitchen if they'd seen him. One girl said, "Yeah, he was walking around kinda weird, like looking through rooms." That set off alarm bells. I started looking around the house. Then I saw him walking down the stairs, slowly. He had on a full black and white skeleton bodysuit, including a mask. His movements were calm but stiff, like he didn't want to be noticed. I stepped in front of him. "Who are you?" I asked. He stopped, then replied in a voice that was deeper than I expected. "Mike, just used the bathroom upstairs." He didn't look like any Mike I knew. His build was stocky, maybe late 30s, definitely older than anyone who should have been there. I asked him who invited him. "Tom," he said. I didn't know any Tom. I told him to take off the mask. He didn't say a word, just walked past me and out the front door. I locked it behind him and ran upstairs, checking every room. My parents' bedroom door was open when I was sure I had closed it earlier. I checked inside. Nothing obvious was missing. I told a few friends what happened, but no one knew who the guy was or how he got in. As the night went on, the crowd thinned. By midnight, it was mostly just my close friends helping me clean up. My friend Vinny was crashing on the couch downstairs. My little sister, who was 14 at the time, had gone to bed early and stayed away from the party. After I brushed my teeth and changed, I sat with Vinny in the living room. We were watching dumb YouTube videos and laughing, trying not to wake my sister. That's when we both heard it. Footsteps upstairs. They were slow, heavy. I assumed my sister was up, maybe going to the bathroom, but the sounds didn't make sense. I never heard her door open, just the footstep. I went upstairs quietly and knocked on her door. No answer. I peeked in. She was still asleep. Then who was walking around? I turned toward my parents' bedroom. The door was slightly ajar. I pushed it open gently, just a few inches, and peered in through the crack without turning the lights on, and I saw him. The skeleton. He was standing in the far corner of the room, perfectly still, like he was waiting. I didn't scream. I didn't run. I just pulled the door shut slowly and backed away. I walked calmly downstairs, heart racing like a jackhammer. I told Vinny that the skeleton guy never left. He froze. We called 911 immediately. Then I went back upstairs, entered my sister's room, woke her up, and told her everything, but told her to stay silent. She didn't freak out. We tiptoed downstairs together. Once outside, we met Vinny by the back door. We ran through the backyard, around to the front, and banged on the neighbor's door. He let us in, and kept us safe, until the police arrived. But by the time they searched the house, the man was gone. The window in my parents' bedroom was wide open. So was the closet, where my dad kept his safe. It looked like someone had tried to move it or force it open, but failed. That night left us all shaken. We never figured out who he was. No one knew him. He had just walked in during the party, masked and unnoticed, and knew exactly where to go. It was someone older, someone who knew I was throwing a party, someone who knew about the safe. It could have been a neighbor, a friend of a friend, or someone who'd been in our house before. We'll never know, but my sister told my parents everything when they got back, and I never got to throw another party again. Honestly, I'm okay with that, because it could have ended so much worse. This happened back in 2016, when I was 15 years old. It was the last year I planned to go trick-or-treating, so I wanted to make the most of it. Halloween had always been one of my favorite times of the year, and I figured if this was going to be the final one of my childhood, I'd go all out. My mom is super laid back, so she didn't mind me turning it into a multi-day event. The plan was simple: a sleepover with my friends Davis and Zach the night before Halloween, skipping school on the big day itself, trick-or-treating later with them, and then capping it all off with a sleepover, just me and my girlfriend Amber. This story stretches across both nights. It started harmless enough. We were crashing in my newly renovated basement, which had just been transformed into a man cave. It was the perfect hangout spot. The only odd thing about it was the long hallway that led to the main den. The hallway light didn't work, and it always had a weird, eerie vibe, like you were walking through the intro to a horror movie. But hey, we were teenage boys watching scary movies. That creepy atmosphere actually added to the fun. My mom made us cookies and said goodnight as we headed downstairs. Around 11 p.m., we had just finished watching Scream, and then I popped in Paranormal Activity, which none of us had seen before. I was excited. That kind of slow-burning, found footage horror was exactly my thing. Barely 30 seconds into the movie, I paused it. The motion sensor light in the backyard suddenly switched on and lit up the whole room. It completely ruined the dark, chilling vibe. We waited for it to turn off. I pressed play again. Another 30 seconds. The light came on again. I was getting frustrated. Davis asked what was setting it off. I said I had no clue. Eventually we got tired of guessing and went upstairs to check. By the time we looked through the sliding glass door, the light had gone off again. We waited up there for about 5 minutes, watching. Nothing, no movement, just a quiet, still backyard. We went back down to the den, ditched the movie, and just hung out on our phones. Hours passed. Everyone else fell asleep. I stayed up scrolling when again that same motion light flicked on. This was the 4th time. I was too tired to care, and figured it was some dumb prank kids messing around or an animal, but something didn't sit right with me. Eventually I checked the backyard one last time. No one there, just darkness. I shook it off and called it a night. Halloween came fast. One moment I was waking up, the next I had a sack full of candy. It felt bittersweet, like this was the end of something. I tried not to think too much and just enjoy the night, but thoughts of the motion light from the night before still lingered. I didn't want to worry Amber. She scares easily. It was later in the night when Amber suddenly screamed out in pain. She'd been hit with a rock. I turned around and saw him, a guy wearing a clown mask, standing just 15 feet behind us. This was during that whole creepy clown epidemic. I yelled at him, told him to get lost, but he just stood there. No costume, just the mask. and regular clothes. The guy looked like an adult. We cut our trick-or-treating short and went back to my house after everyone left. Amber and I were sorting candy when she asked to watch a movie. I figured we'd finally finish Paranormal Activity. Midway through the movie, just as the screen faded to black during a creepy scene, the lights in the man cave suddenly died. Power outage. No storm, no wind, nothing. I checked my weather app. Clear skies. My gut dropped. I told Amber to stay put, but she didn't want to be alone in the dark, so she followed me upstairs. We stepped outside to check the generator. Passed under the motion light. Nothing. It didn't even turn on. I was already uneasy, but when I heard a twig snap near the tree line, it got worse. We turned toward the sound. Silence. Just the chirping of crickets. Amber tugged at my arm, wanting to go back inside. That's when I saw him. The same guy, same clown mask, standing near my shed, watching. Then without warning he lunged at us. We ran. I slammed the door shut behind Amber, and we bolted downstairs, hiding behind the bar. That's when it hit me. I hadn't locked the door. Seconds later, a loud slam came from upstairs. Amber texted 911. Too scared to call, I grabbed a beer bottle ready to fight if I had to. Then we heard the basement door open. Footsteps, slow, heavy, coming closer down the hall. Amber's breathing got loud. I had to gently cover her mouth. The steps stopped, right near us. I was bracing to fight. Then sirens outside. I jumped up, swung the bottle at the figure, but tripped and hit the ground. He barely flinched. The mask must have cushioned the hit. He looked down at me, and then just turned and ran upstairs. I bolted after him, let the cops in, and told them he ran out back. But of course they didn't catch him. To this day, I still can't hang out in that man cave alone, without thinking of that mask, those eyes behind it, and that moment I thought I might not live to see another Halloween. We started spending more time at Amber's after, and even now, sometimes I still wonder who that guy was. Or worse, if he ever came back. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Stay safe out there, and keep your eyes on the dark. You never know who's watching.